A humid spring breeze brushed against his cheeks. The drawn lace curtains appeared to glow in the gentle moonlight. The white-haired girl was not in her room. Where, where have you gone? Stupefied, he glanced about his wife's chambers. To my eyes, the neatly organized room appeared no different than any other day, but to his eyes, it was pale and hollow. For the one who was supposed to be there, who was supposed to be waiting for him, was not present. He could not hear her voice from anywhere in the shed. In its place echoed a dry rustling, a sad, pitiful, empty whisper of a noise. It came from the lone object left abandoned atop her desk. The Fina kistoscope. It was the one present Jacopo had ever given the white-haired girl, a toy made of paper. When spun and viewed in a mirror, it created the illusion of a man and woman dancing. You still had this? That's ridiculous. I assumed you had thrown it out. The white-haired girl had evidently made considerable use of the phenakistoscope. The paper was visibly worn and tattered, warped in places, and had even begun to yellow. It spun slowly in the wind, rustling and rustling and rustling, spinning in an endless reminder of that day the year before, though there was no longer anyone around to look through it. Why, but you were with other men. Why would you keep something I gave you? It's so worn. Why? A letter? Beneath the ever-rotating phenakistoscope lay a single sheet of paper. As if drawn to it, he scanned the contents of the parchment. It was a letter addressed to Caro mio Jacopo. The salutation, written in his native language, translated as follows: My beloved Jacopo. Did the fruits of your dream turn out as you had hoped? I am sure it was wonderful and impressively fast. A train that can travel across a continent as large as this is likely something out of a story. I wish I could have been there to see it. I'm sure it would have been quite pleasant, like the day you gave me the Phoenix wheel. Am I being presumptuous? I'm sorry. I thought I would keep waiting for you forever, no matter how much you had hated or ignored me. But I made up my mind, so I'm sorry. I decided I would wait for you until the railroad was completed. I foolishly thought that you might invite me to the opening ceremony, but it seems I am not good enough for you. I'm going to take my leave of your house, so you needn't concern yourself with me any longer. However, I do have one request. Please do not forget about all the letters I wrote. Think back on them from time to time. Do not burn them all, for they contain my thoughts, my feelings, my words, a record of my love for you. Remember, when you can, that I was always watching you. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble writing. My ears are ringing. There's a voice whispering to me, calling me a witch. Maybe it's your voice. My vision is blurry. I'm not even sure what is going through my mind. I'm sorry this was all I was able to write for you. I'm truly sorry. I will leave the Phoenix wheel behind. It was my dearest treasure. Farewell. I loved you. What the hell is this? He was visibly rattled, and unsurprisingly so. The mention of the Transcontinental Railroad's opening ceremony, the letter she had written, her dearest treasure, her profession of love for him, and above all, the mangled text that appeared to have been written by someone not entirely in their right mind. Everything about it served to amplify his befuddlement. You waited for me? How could that be? The joining ceremony is tomorrow. It hasn't happened yet. Why? Why did you have to leave then? I'm here. I came for you just as I planned. The ceremony was on the 10th. A second later, Jacopo gasped. The date written on the letter was the day prior, May 8th. Originally, the ceremony was planned to be held on May 8th, 1869. However, due to bad weather and a labor dispute, it had been postponed for 2 days. This can't be. I made sure you were informed. I had Maria. The madam is having an affair. Maria. You couldn't. Scattered fragments of memory began coming together in his mind. Maria was the only one who had informed him of his wife's supposed unfaithfulness. And though the letters had not been addressed to him, thinking back on it, they had all been about him. In one letter she had mentioned treasure and a gift. Jacopo had assumed it meant a gift from another man. But in fact, she had been referring to the phenicistoscope sitting atop her desk, still spinning in the wind. At long last, he finally made the connection. And at the same time, he realized that the only person who could have altered the letters was someone they both trusted, Maria. Never. She never even once betrayed me. She was not unfaithful at all. She waited unwaveringly for me. And I refused to believe her. I caused her pain again and again. But his realizations came far too late. The white-haired girl's spirit had broken, and she was no longer at the mansion. Had he caught on to Maria's machinations sooner, things would not have turned out as they had. But he was much too late. Maria! Why? Why would you do this? Clenching the letter from his wife, Jacopo stormed out of the shed in search of Maria. But she was not in the room assigned to her. Where are you? Where have you gone? Maria! Several maids were roused from their slumber by the racket, but no one had the courage to speak up as the master of the house frantically charged through the halls. Eventually he arrived at his own chamber. He was certain he had closed the door before leaving, but now a sliver of light shone through the gap between it and the frame. From within the room he thought he could sense someone's presence. When he opened the door, there he saw, comfortably perched upon his own chair, a woman. I've been waiting. Jacopo? Nice room you got here. Though I guess that's only natural, you being the man of the house and all. All these fancy furnishings. You do know this stuff's too good for you, right? And then me. I get that barren little maid's room. Drives me up the wall. So hey, Jacopo? Clear the air with your little lady yet? Maria! I love that look on your face. I'm guessing you didn't make things better then. You know good and well that she's not even here anymore. Well, yeah, but I still want to hear you say it, you know? I want to hear from your own mouth that you couldn't keep a leash on your woman, so you locked her up, drove her mad, broke her down, and then she ran away from you. Go on, say something. Climb back on your high horse and start shouting like you always do. Why, Maria? Why would you do this? Why? Why do you think? Because I fucking despise you. I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to end things, but then they just fell apart on their own. The fates are smiling down upon me, I guess. Nonsense. She was waiting for me until the day of the joining ceremony, and I was going to see her on that day. You knew the ceremony had been postponed. That's what you get for putting it all in my hands. For thinking I'm the only one on your side. What, did you think I'd just tell her like a good little maid? Not a chance in hell. I mean, talk about some fantastic news. You both picked the same day, but you've got the dates different. Absolutely perfect. Is that how you've always felt? How long have you held this grudge against me? How long? How long? How goddamn dense can you be? Must be nice living in your little fantasy world, Jacopo. And this is the next Capo Familia? Oh my god, my sides! So you've always hated me. At the very least. I fucking loathe you since the minute we had a reunion. At first I did try to convince myself that you had your reasons. Didn't make it feel any less unfair, though. You had all your money and all your power and everything else you stole from me. And then you go and get hitched to this pretty little lady. Oh, don't try to act like you're the victim here. This is all on you. Do you have any idea how I felt? Fallen from grace, made your goddamn maid, having to suck up to you. Do you have any idea how infuriating that was? Or did you think that I didn't know anything? Did you think I didn't suspect anything? If you did, then you got your head way up in the clouds. So you were motivated by your grudge against my family, the Brazzatis. Precisely, that's exactly it. Your father wanted so badly to be the Capo Familia, wanted so badly to be in power, that he murdered my dad and grandpa. They say it was a carriage accident, but the ground was all torn to hell where it happened. You want to tell me what kind of carriage accident causes it to explode? Yeah, as soon as my dad and grandpa died, your dad took over as Capo Familia. The balance of power in the factions began to change. My family and anyone with ties to the Campanellas was either exterminated or exiled. The Brazzatis took control of the city. My grandpa's Casca became your Casca. No one in their right mind would be naive enough to think the Brazzatis didn't have a hand in that. The great Campanella family, bitten by their pet dog. Except the dog had rabies. And as a result, in time, that lush historic land will wither away and die. My dad and grandpa, buried in that dried-up earth, are screaming in their graves even now. You can't prove me wrong, can you, Jacopo? And now, first in line to be the next Capo Familia is you, his son. Naturally. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Slaughtering my family, leaving us to wallow in the mud. While you live here like a fucking king. Because of what your family did, I don't have a home to go back to anymore. No house, no prestige. I have nothing left. And that's goddamn outrageous. The Campanellas are supposed to run that city, but instead, you filthy Brazzati curs are crawling over it like some kind of infestation. I'm a legitimate Campanella, but I'm stuck being your goddamn maid? If I hadn't been born a woman, I could have become the Capo Familia after my dad and grandpa died. But because I'm a woman, I couldn't retaliate. I just had to sit on my hands and watch the tragedy unfold. It was absolutely miserable. So I had to make you suffer as well. I had to make you twice as miserable as I was. You had no reason to hate anyone but me. Why did you make her a part of this? Did you have some grudge against her too? Not particularly. I actually rather liked the madam. Sweet, pretty, kind-hearted, timid, and fragile. Trusted every word I said. A splendid little toy. You thought of her as your toy. Now, can you really call me out for that? You can't. You have no right. You never cared one bit about anyone else. They're all footstools to you. It's a little too late to find yourself a sense of morality. This whole thing, it could have been avoided if you two had just a single conversation. But instead, the both of you come calling to me saying, "You're my only ally, Maria." How dense can you be? Of course, I thought you were my ally. I trusted you, as I'm sure she did too. Then you should get your eyes examined because you can't see a damn thing. Maria. My God, it was beautiful. The way you two blindly trusted me, creating your own misunderstandings and causing your own pain. How could you never seem to be on the same page? Watching it all fall apart. Maria. Is that everything? The extent of your grudge and all you did? Yep. That's everything. all that's left is for me to kill you. Hold still now. I wouldn't want to miss. Maria, you! Does our past mean nothing to you? Was that oath just an empty promise? How could it, when you remember so clearly? Fine, I'll explain it for our little romantic boy. Bad grown-ups will even take advantage of good memories. It's time I finally return this to you, Jacopo. That cartridge you gave me, packed with your disgusting sentimentality. Killing you ain't the end, though. All you Berzati curs. I'll send every last one of you straight to hell. My revenge has just begun. Even if you had been a man, you wouldn't have been a suitable capo familia. You should have aimed between my eyes, Maria. Jacopo. Why? In a panic, I pulled the trigger, and from the barrel a bullet went flying, quite literally right between her eyes. Would anyone ever believe me if I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? The rain just keeps on coming. Wonder if we'll be able to go home today. Hey, Jacopino. Say something, you little wuss. Don't shout. You're gonna give me a headache. Lightning's way louder than me. You jumped, Jacopino. You're such a baby. You jumped too, and stop calling me that. Don't be scared. Don't cry. I am not crying. Your eyes are damp too. I'm not crying. Not at all. Not one bit. Liar. There's no end to this rain, is there? I'm fine if it doesn't stop. There's nothing at home for me. You don't want to go home? Your parents don't get along, huh? That's got nothing to do with it. Liar. You've got it good. Everyone loves your grandpa. Whenever anyone needs something, they come to him. Now there's a great man. How did my grandpa become part of this? No reason. Not everyone likes him. He gets just as much hate as love. Grandpa's not really a model citizen. He's mostly just shrewd. Are you jealous? I'm not. My old man is, though. Is he now? Well, your dad's got his good points too, I think. Like, I don't know, he seems the kind of man who can accomplish big things. Though he seems a lot stricter than my grandpa. Come on, I don't get ya. What are you climbing up for? No reason. If you don't want to go home, then how about we go somewhere far away from here? Once it stops raining, let's get out of here. Head up to the capital, find some work. We can make it work, the two of us. Oh, and we'll bring Nero, of course. If we could. That would be nice. Break free of the city and its outdated traditions. Head somewhere bigger, more forward-thinking. If only it were possible. It's alright, Maria. I know you were just joking. We wouldn't be able to find work anyway. If the two of us ran off, we'd be starving in a month. You'd have to be blind not to see that. Right. Let's go home once this rain lets up. Yeah, once it does. But until then, I know, let's sing. Sing even louder than lightning. Then maybe you'll stop crying, Jacopino. I am not crying. Come on, let's sing. I may not put it into words, but I trust you understand that I consider you a dear friend. Listen to me, Jacopo. My actions were justified. I did what I did for the betterment of the city, this land. The Campanellas are too conservative. Under their control, this country will atrophy. Progress will continue to lose steam. If we don't push forward, we'll fall further and farther behind. Before long, you'll be made the next Capo Familia. But until that day, you will cross over to the New World and establish the Casca there. Unify us, bolster us, make us strong. I'll handle things back here. I won't let the Campanellas try and strike back. What? You want Maria to? It's dangerous to keep a Campanella so close by. She has to be taken care of. If you insist, but do not let your guard down. Betrayal is a constant companion in this world. I'm giving you my revolver. Keep it on you at all times. Glory everlasting upon our blood, and upon this earth. The best I can give you is a job as my maid. If I show you any more obviously preferential treatment, the Berzattis are liable to step in. Money, power, respect, and enough authority to not take orders from anyone. I thought that I could obtain all that. I would be able to give you your freedom, and her as well. I wanted to give you both comfortable lives, but none of that got through to either of you. Everything is slipping through my fingers. Her love, my friendship with Maria, both of their smiles. Master! Master! What was that sound? So much blood! Maria? What happened this time? You keep getting stuck witnessing the worst things. What? Call a doctor. Someone with tight lips. Do not call the police. And don't make a scene. Got it? If so, then go on. Yes, sir. Right. Not everything has slipped from my grasp. My money and influence are all that's left. This is what you wanted, though, is it not? You sought money and power, no? Aren't you going to go? Yes, I will. But first, I would like to ask you something. What do you intend to do from here? What am I going to do? Exactly the same as before. There is but one thing for me to do. I see. Will you eventually find solace in your riches? The way I see it, money and power can be your ally, but they can become your enemy in the blink of an eye. If you do not put them into words, your feelings will never make it through to anyone. For unlike money, humans are not measurable by their appearance. He failed to communicate to anyone what he held within his breast. He was chained down by his place in society, his pride, his relationships, and his own heart. And at some point he found himself in a position where he was no longer able to speak his mind. After enough time, he likely forgot how to be genuine at all. Or perhaps someone like him simply would not, even if they knew how. In any event, there are many things in this world that cannot be communicated without being put into words. How sad that his tale should end without him expressing how he truly felt. How hard it must have been to never clear up his misunderstandings. After Jacopo's confrontation with Maria, the Pacific Railroad was completed as scheduled. Celebratory cheers shook the new world as the last spike was driven into the rails. Jacopo, however, could not even manage a smile listening to the telegraph. And I am sure you can take a guess as to why. The people with whom he wished to share that moment were not there. Shortly following her death, Jacopo held a private funeral for Maria. Then he commenced a search for the white-haired girl. But he did not do so alone. He hired others to help, did everything in his power to find her, tirelessly searching for many, many years. However, he was never able to locate her, and he spent the remainder of his life alone. Money, power, renown, servants. The world around him was always quite lively, but solitude was his only companion. He waited and he waited and he waited for the white-haired girl to return. The years crawled by, and with no family or loved ones at his side to care for him in old age, he died alone. The door before the departed slowly drew shut. He could no longer hear the raucous sounds of the men within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Staring vaguely at the closed door, he noticed something was amiss. The maid who had been holding the departed's hand was no longer at his side. The departed glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. Not having anticipated this, he was unsure how to react. "What's the matter? You lost, or are you just trying to take in the sights?" A voice called out to the departed, but it was not the maid's voice. "What?" Caught off guard, he spun around confused in search of the source. "Where are you looking?" "I'm over here? Yeah, there you go. Little more to the left." Following the voice's instructions, he found himself facing a wall. The painting speaks. What do I do? "You look like you just seen a ghost. Hey now, come on, don't turn away." "Are you really?" "Yep, you got it. I'm the one talking to you." The voice was coming from within the painting. When the departed had passed by this wall on the way to the third door, a magnificent landscape painting had been hanging there. But now the canvas was a deep shade of black, as if it had been dipped into a vat of ink. "Been a while since I talked to anyone, so tell me you can hear me all right, can't you?" "I can hear you." "Splendid. Been so long since I had a conversation, I was afraid I might have forgotten how to talk. So tell me, who might you be?" "I don't know. I don't know anything." "You don't know? Well, isn't that quite the pickle? And how about we have a little chat, eh? You got yourself turned around and aren't sure where to go, yeah? Well, I'll be happy to tell you anything I can, just ask away." The painting sounded rather high-spirited. Perhaps he was simply excited to have the opportunity to speak with someone. So the departed decided he would ask the painting a few questions. "Who are you?" "Me? Well, as you can see, I'm a painting." "Why? Why did I end up as a painting? Hard to say. Maybe I was reborn as a painting because I used to really like art. Though there are things I painted that I wish I hadn't. Maybe that regret's what turned me into this. Hopefully I get a chance to apologize to him about that. Anywho, no point in getting into any more detail than that. Wouldn't mean anything to you, so enough about me. Oh, right, you don't know anything about yourself. Shame that. Alright then. Favor for you since you can't tell me about yourself. If you run into him, can you tell him I really regret what I did? I know I should tell him myself, but well, as you can see... Regret. I'm stuck here, can't move an inch, so I gotta ask for help. I feel absolutely terrible about painting that picture. I know, yeah, deadline's way past on that one, but that's what makes it regret, yeah? Because you can't take it back. By the time I realized it was too late, he was already dead. He's long since passed away. How? Huh? How are you supposed to give a dead fellow a message? Well, for all you know, the dead could be wandering these halls too. Perhaps. So please, if you come across him, tell him I said that I didn't mean any harm with that painting. Or maybe you are him. Who am I? Just because you don't know who you are doesn't mean you can go around asking other people. Is a painting a person? I'm not a person, you say? Well, no, you're right, but I'm not going to know anything about you that you can't tell me yourself. I mean, from where I'm standing, you look almost like a walking cloud of shadow. Can't even tell what you look like. I do. The maid who was with you before, did she call you master? Yes. I see, but the question is, which era's master are you? How many doors you've been through? 3. 3 doors, eh? And of those, did any of them bring anything back? Nothing. nothing. Well, it's not an easy thing recovering yourself. Or maybe you weren't behind any of those 3 doors. I wasn't. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That was your first time witnessing those tragedies. Yours is another door. So tell me, how do you feel looking behind those doors? Was it frightening, saddening, heart-wrenching? Well, let me tell you something. You were able to bear them because they weren't your tragedies. If the next door you open is yours, will you be able to bear it? Will you be able to accept your own tragedy? It's one thing seeing others suffering, but your own? If you have to face emotions you wanted to keep buried, secrets you wanted to keep hidden away, and pain you wanted to forget, do you think you'll be able to accept them as your own? If you can't, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't accuse you of running if you chose not to reclaim your old self. Nothing wrong with erasing your memory of something if it was so bad you didn't want to face it in the first place. Let it be rewritten as someone else's story. That'll make it a whole lot easier on you. Because you never know. The most unfortunate tale of all may well be your own. Or perhaps that goes for everything about you. Is the weight I bear truly so great? If so, then what am I supposed to do? But I have not yet seen it, so... You won't know till you see it. Well, that's true enough. But once you do, there might not be any turning back. Or do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. What? Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that. A fabrication. A fabrication. If it turns out you're someone from behind the next door, then perhaps you're my... What is this place? Talk about some hard-hitting questions. Probably not the one who'll be able to answer that for you. I don't have a very deep connection with this mansion, you see. I find that difficult to believe. I swear it. I got nothing to gain from lying, do I? It's my regrets that turned me into this. I wasn't summoned here by no one. That said, there is one thing I can tell you. This place summons people. People who have ties to something that happened long, long ago. Summons. No one knows anything even happened. I didn't know either, till she told me. Though I haven't the foggiest how much of it's true or not. Are you here because you were summoned by her? Or did you come here of your own will to find someone? I still don't know. But someone was calling for me. Sad, despairing cries. If you came here of your own volition and you weren't summoned by her, then mayhap you'll be the one who can break. Who is the maid? Might as well ask her that directly. I tried. But she won't say it till you regain your old self? Right. I see. Well, in that case, if you want to know, you know what you gotta do. It's entirely up to you whether you make an ally or an enemy out of her. There is no guaranteeing she's even right in the head. What? You never know. Maybe you're not the only one who hasn't found themselves. Haven't talked that much in a long time. Feels great. And now that I got that out of my system, I should be able to get some good sleep. I feel even more lost than I was before. You're probably still wandering in the dark right now, but I really hope you find the outcome you want. And I mean that. You can either reclaim your old self or you can toss it aside. The choice is yours either way. Now, since it looks like your escort isn't showing up, what do you plan to do next? What should I do? How about taking a look around the place since you got a little free time? Could be you come across some things you wouldn't with her around. Oh, right. If you're gonna go exploring, I've got the perfect thing. The perfect thing. Stick your hand into the canvas, would you? The painting was still wrapped in an impenetrable darkness. A perfect, all-consuming void. The man had told the departed to put his hand into it. He... reach into the frame. The departed extended his hand for the painting. The moment his fingertips brushed against the darkness, it swallowed the departed's entire hand up to the wrist. No, not there. That tickles. A little to the right. As the man in the painting had instructed, the departed groped around the inside of the darkness. Before long, he felt something hard at his fingertips. Clenching the object, the departed withdrew his hand. His arm was still intact. He spread his fingers, and there the departed found a key. That tickled. With that key, you can access the master bedroom. A while back, she tossed it into me. The damned litter bug. She. So yeah, it ain't mine. Don't worry about giving it back, however. But there's something worth seeing in there if she felt the need to toss that key. Alright, well, I'm gonna get some sleep. You take care. If you happen to learn my name, come pay me another visit. Should the fancy strike you. Having said that, the painting fell quiet. In the departed's hand lay a small key. It seemed rather antiquated and vaguely familiar. Silence once again drew over the corridor. The departed stood there all alone, no sign of the maid. After considering it for a few moments, the departed decided to explore the mansion on his own. The departed made his way to the mansion's entrance. There was no one around, nor any source of light. Groping through the darkness, he found the front door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. He pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. It seemed he could not leave the mansion. Burn the witch. Crucify the impure. When the departed made to step away from the entrance, he heard a muffled voice. What was that? He looked around, but was unable to determine the source of the voice. Nor could he be sure whom he had heard earlier. It sends a chill through me. I feel like I know that voice very well. Giving up on finding anything at the entrance, the departed decided to head somewhere else. The departed made his way to the room with the fireplace. What remained of the fire crackled weakly, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. So cold. The departed remembered that he had awoken here. Out of sheer curiosity, he sat down in the rocking chair he had been asleep in. Creak, creak, creak. It was as soothing as a cradle to a baby, and in short order the departed found his consciousness drifting from his grasp. Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes it feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? I bet that's why troubadours perform at pubs, so they can be near the fire. Oh, you're such a cynic. But that's okay. Say, do you remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? The departed's eyes slowly slid open. Fragments of a pleasant dream lingered in the back of his mind. The crackling of a fire, the taste of warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before him. No warm, crackling flames. In fact, the brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of embers left there. A chill ran down the departed's spine. Afraid he might freeze stiff if he stayed there much longer, he resumed his exploration of the mansion. The scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the den. However, the room was silent. Not even an echo of the men's chattering remained. Something was moving. Billiard balls. There was no one present to strike the balls. They rolled spontaneously around the table. The paths they traced across the surface were rough and erratic, contrasting that of when the former master had held the cue. The spheres collided awkwardly with one another, not a single one coming close to the pockets. What's going on? As an experiment, the departed pulled a ball off the table. In response, the paths of the balls became even clumsier. Having lost one of their targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As the departed stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. What? Spinning around, the departed saw a silhouette of a man. However, he could not make out what the man was saying. Who are you? The man thrust his finger at the table. He appeared to want the departed to return the ball. He looks angry. The departed reluctantly placed the billiards ball back on the table. When he did, the balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing in any of the pockets. The departed looked up to find the shadow gone. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, he exited the room, making his way back into the corridor. Look, your head is covered in roses, Mel. Oh, Nellie, you got petals on the book. This isn't mine, I can't afford to. Though the departed could hear the sound of children laughing, he could not see them. Regardless, their cheerful voices warmed his heart. The departed decided to linger there in the garden for some time. Along with the children's laughs, wafted a sweet fragrance. The wind blew, whisking flower petals up into the air. It was an enchanting sight. But after a while, the roses began to wilt. The departed could no longer hear the children's voices either. A young man stood alone in the withered rose garden. As the departed drew near, he called out to the youth, "Who are you?" But the young man did not appear to notice him. He merely stood there, staring vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. "This isn't what I wanted. I just wanted a normal, peaceful life. I can't bear being alone. I can't take this. Someone, get me out of here. Oh God, tell me it's not all my fault." Look at me. Can you hear me? The departed tried to call out to the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear him. He simply continued muttering to himself. Before long, the youth's shadow faded into nothing. Unable to bear the chilly air any longer, the departed stepped back into the mansion. When the departed descended into the cellar, he heard beast-like snarling. Along with it came a sour odor and the sound of ripping flesh. He could not see the beast, but that did not make it any less unpleasant. Back upstairs. The departed made to retreat from the cellar. But before he could, a shadowy creature lunged at him. He reflexively squeezed his eyes shut. After several moments, he opened his eyes again to find a silhouette of a man standing in place of the beast. The departed and the shadow stared at one another for some time. He asked the shadow a question, and the shadow responded. "Who are you?" So he's speaking Japanese here. However, he had no idea what it said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to the departed, but trying to make sense of something he could not understand was pointless. I have to get out of here. Having no reason to remain in the cellar any longer, he made his way back upstairs. The smell of dusty books filled the air of the library. The departed approached a shelf to examine one of the books, and suddenly an avalanche of them came falling to the floor. He stared blankly at the mountain of books. They had fallen down on their own, but they showed no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one else was there to do it, he began placing the books back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, a dozen. And as soon as he had gotten them all back up, What on earth? They came crashing back down again. The departed wished very much to implore the maid's assistance, but she did not appear to be in the area. Pretending he had not seen anything, the departed made his way back into the hallway. The departed approached the stained glass window. An array of pews was arranged facing the stained glass. There seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. He sat down in one of the pews and stared quietly forward for some time. It's an angel. The Archangel Michael. Looking at him makes my chest go tight. Am I human? For a moment, the departed felt like he was on the verge of recalling something, but ultimately the memory never managed to surface. The maid did not appear to be there. Where could she have gone? The departed decided to resume exploring the mansion. The departed inserted the key he had been given into the door's keyhole, and with a twist, the door opened. The master bedroom was shrouded in darkness, much like every other room in the mansion. It had evidently been left unused for some time. The air in the room was stale and forlorn. Master? What? A voice seemed to ring out from somewhere. Come on, get up. Up with you. Master... See? What did I tell you? It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Without warning, the departed's whole world took on bright, vivid colors. Light streamed through the window, illuminating a well-lit bedroom. A woman's silhouette stood before the departed. You're... Wait a sec. Don't you hide under your bedspread. Get out of there. But Master, you agreed that I could open the windows. The windows? Don't worry, I've put curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Who are you? Monians take the best part of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. Are you? You don't have to go outside in the sunlight for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous songs of the birds, the swaying of the trees, the rustling of leaves. Who gave me light? The departed tried to call out to the silhouette, but it did not respond. Reaching out for her, his hands simply passed through her body. I wish to put my hand on you. It did not seem to be him she was speaking to. Perhaps he was looking at a scene from some other period of time. Am I being as pushy as I feel right now? I wish to call your name, but I cannot remember it. I completely misjudged you. Say, you're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. My name. Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel. Heartless and incomprehensible. Speak. But I'm beginning to get a better idea. To me. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. You have a short temper, but can be surprisingly playful. What else? You have a pretty difficult personality, too. Now, hear me out here. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice, too. We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. This is just the beginning, after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? Let's not waste any time, then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to before? Where should we begin? I know, we can get this place cleaned up. Now that there's some actual light in here, we can see all sorts of things we'd probably rather not. Like dust. All over the place. When the woman's shadow faded away, the master bedroom transformed back into its old dreary state. Master, can you say my name? The departed was unsure how to describe the urge welling up within his breast. He could not say her name. The departed stood unmoving in the master bedroom for some time, but it did not appear anything else was going to happen. So he decided to head somewhere else. The departed tried calling for the maid. It was quiet. A sense of loneliness fell over him. The departed tried calling for the maid. It was quiet. A sense of loneliness fell over him. That's number 4. Five. There was an achievement in the Steam version of this for calling out to her 10 times. That's number 6. I don't remember if that actually caused anything to change on the 10th time or not. That's what I'm testing here. That's 7. Eight. 9. 10. The departed returned to the room with a stained glass window. He had searched throughout the mansion, but had no luck finding the maid. He felt somewhat tired, though he was not quite sure whether it was physical exhaustion or otherwise. This darkness feels like it's draining me of my strength, like I'm slowly being smothered beneath it. He had little interest in doing any more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, the departed gazed up at the stained glass. Staring solemnly back down at him was the archangel sent to weigh the souls of the deceased. Michael. Perhaps he was trying to weigh the departed soul. My soul is probably not very heavy. Master, master. There you are, master. You gave me quite a scare. After returning from the third door, you disappeared without a word. It was you who disappeared. Oh my, it was I who disappeared. That is quite strange. I did not go anywhere as far as I am aware. Nevertheless, I am glad to have found you. I would have been at a complete loss for what to do, if I had been separated from you yet again. Again? You said you were waiting for me. I did indeed say that when you first arrived. I have been waiting for your return for a very long time. For centuries, as a matter of fact. That would make me a ghost then, you say? I didn't say that. She seems very perky. I suspect she's not in her right mind. Am I in mind, though? I am very much not a ghost. Would I be able to hold your hand if I were? Saying this, the maid took the departed's hand. It was cold enough to send a shudder down his spine, and completely devoid of life. Though as chilling as it may have been, he still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in his. If we were both dead, then maybe we could still touch each other. The maid looked down at the departed with gentle eyes. After a few moments of silence, she sat down beside him. The stained glass is quite beautiful, is it not? Every time I see it, it brings a tranquility to my heart. It does the opposite for me. A dreadful, deep-rooted curse afflicts this mansion. However, this room is the one exception. Can you feel the purity that hangs in the air, Master? I have a question. Yes, what is it, Master? Why is the stained glass still there? It was... You are correct. The stained glass window had been shattered and was not present in the time period of the previous tale. So why is it here? I wonder. Perhaps it's because the mansion we are in presently resides in a realm separate from the real world. We are in a world constructed from myriad memories and histories. I am sure that when you regain your old self, Master, the mansion too shall be restored to its original state. So do try and remember, all right? Oh yes. Where did you go in my absence, Master? I wandered around. I see. So you explored the mansion, then? Did you find anything noteworthy? I gathered what appeared to be memories. Memories? I'm not quite sure what you mean. How peculiar. As a servant of this house, I pride myself in being aware of almost everything present within these walls. I wonder whose memories they could be. The key to the master bedroom. The key to the master bedroom? Why did you throw it away? Why did I throw away the key? I beg your pardon? The painting. You say a painting told you? The departed could see perplexity on the maid's face. He had never seen her make such an expression before. I know nothing of any key. Oh, Master, you should not tell jokes meant to cause others discomfort. But a talking painting, you say? You seem to have a rather vivid imagination. Maybe you can tell the next tale, Master? I'm only teasing. Now, that was a nice break, but we should get moving. The tale I'm about to show you is the last of the mansion's memories. The last? Maybe this time there will actually be some trace of me. I am certain you'll remember yourself after seeing it. To our feet. The final door is not far. And please do not let go of my hand. Holding the departed's hand, the maid led him to the far end of the room. Crossing beneath the stained glass window, a metal door came into view. Our destination lies at the top of these stairs. There we will find one last door. She pushed open the metal door, revealing a long, long spiral staircase. It will be a bit of a walk, so let us be on our way. And please do watch your step. This is called an observation tower. Normally towers such as this were built in castles or churches, so it is rather strange for there to be one in a mansion. The last door I wish to show you, Master, resides at the top of this tower. The observation tower. She cries from the top of the tower, and Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in several locations along the way up the spiral staircase. The departed attempted to peer out of one of the windows, but all he could see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps the maid's suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside in reality was in fact correct. With each step upward, he found himself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety. Up ahead, something tells me there is something at the top of these stairs that will stimulate my memories. The feeling somewhat resembled irritation or annoyance. Sensing this, the maid tightly gripped his hand. There is nothing to worry about. You will be fine. It is all in the past. No matter what may happen, so long as you do not let go of my hand, you have nothing to fear. All in the past. But is it truly? The departed and the maid continued climbing the stairs. up and up, around and around, marching ever nearer the supposed final door. High up into the tower, as the light from below drew distant, a rotten wood door came into view. Patches of what appeared to be blood stained the surface, and holes had been bored into it with sharp objects of some sort. The departed heard a scream from far below, where no one should have been. "Kill the witch, kill the witch, kill the witch. Burn her, burn her, burn her. Burn her." He was struck with fear. The next moment the maid opened the door. And then he slowly descended into darkness.